Have you checked the children?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
Still back here, Jaime and Fuego.
That's right. We are still abiding by quarantine rules, so we are maintaining our social distancing, but we do have a few movies we want to catch up on here, and the first one being Mortal Kombat Legacy?
Legacy
Or
Scorpions,
Legends.
maybe
Is
it
it
is
Legends?
Legends. Ah.
Yeah, all right, we'll
Whatever.
figure it out. Whatever.
Never.
Scorpion's Revenge,
Exactly.
the one that just came out.
That's the important part.
Yeah, this is an animated movie that is definitely rated R. It's the first R-rated treatment of Mortal Kombat that we're getting outside of the games that I can recall anyway.
Yep.
So I'm excited to talk about it. We did a trailer reaction for it, and we were interested in it back when we did that. So this is the fulfillment of that reaction, and luckily I wasn't disappointed. I guess I didn't really know what to think was going to be the exact story. Obviously, I knew Mortal Kombat would be involved, but it's pretty much just a retelling of the first Mortal Kombat movie, or at least a telling of the same story. Not necessarily a retelling, because that was a telling of the game, and we're going to get into adaptation versus remake bullshit here. But overall, I enjoyed it. I definitely liked seeing as much gore and violence and craziness as there was in the movie. I definitely feel like that's Mortal Kombat's wheelhouse. So I had fun with this one. What about you?
I most definitely did as well. I mean, it condenses a lot, and it's interesting how, despite being like the story of the first game with some of the second game, it also cherry picks some stuff from the later games, like, you know, characters from 4 and even Deadly Alliance and stuff, you know, but they're more so Easter eggs than anything else. And it's also interesting to see Scorpion turned into a hero when he was a villain, at least in the initial stuff, but I know they transitioned him into that in the video game, so they stayed faithful there. And I liked the level of violence. It was fun, man.
Yeah.
Well
so
done animation.
The story is, there are Earthlings that are selected to be part of Mortal Kombat to defend Earthrealm. Shao Kahn and his minions from Outworlds have won 9 Mortal Kombat tournaments in a row. This is the 10th. The 10th one, if anyone wins 10 in a row, then that realm can conquer the other realms. So Outworld is trying to conquer. Shang Tsung is running the tournament for Shao Kahn, and Johnny Cage, Sonya Blade, Jax, and Raiden, and
Liu Kang, obviously.
Liu Kang, yeah. Those are the main heroes. Again, pretty much just from the movie. And then we got some baddies. We get Reptile. We get Baraka. Actually, we get Kano. We get, of course, Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and it's a pretty standard plot for a Mortal Kombat movie, but I thought they did a pretty good job with it. I was invested. I enjoyed taking it from Scorpion's point of view. I feel like you could almost do a different Mortal Kombat movie for each character as if they won everything. You know, like this was Scorpion's story. It's almost as if you could do a movie for each character you can select and go through the tower with. You know what I mean?
I would be very down for that, actually.
It'd be kind of fun, because then you get to see all the different outcomes if the other person won, and if the other person won, and if the other person won. Because frankly, if they did a sequel to this, there's a lot of characters that are already dead now.
And they left it wide open for a sequel, though. I mean, obviously with the ending.
Sooner or later, they're going to run out of characters if they're just going to leave everyone dead, or they're going to have to do a reboot like the game does in Part 11 and goes timey-wimey with it, you know, so...
I just think they'll eventually start bringing in those Deadly Alliance and Deception characters like
I know, but even
like
then,
Kenshi
eventually you'll run out.
Yeah, I guess if you're just going to keep killing people.
Exactly.
So,
Kenshi, Nightwolf, all those guys,
Frost,
yeah.
lots of guys
I
like
don't
that.
even know a lot of those later
Cabal,
game guys.
yeah.
I loved Cabal. He was from Part 3. He was
dope
before
with the
Quan
hooks,
Chi,
man.
actually, yeah. But nonetheless, I thought the story was still... It works for a Mortal Kombat movie. It doesn't need to be any more than it was, although it was deeper than the actual movie was, the original live-action movie, because we got backstory on one particular character that's more than just a few lines or one scene setup. The Scorpion of it all was actually a really engaging story. I feel like it could almost be its own story out of Japan, you know, a live-action Scorpion movie out of Japan. this felt like what that would be. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I thought it was very successfully portrayed. What about you?
I appreciated the Scorpion stuff more so than anything, and I'm not going to gripe about the making him like an anti-hero at this particular point, which he's kind of become, but I appreciated the Quan Chi dynamic that they brought in that doesn't happen till 4 and onward. That's a story bit that they cherry-picked from the later games and just spearheaded it into this particular installment, and I dug it. I thought the dynamic with bringing in the Netherrealm was cool, which we don't even find out about till Mortal Kombat 4. So yeah, I was a Mortal Kombat geek there with the mythology for a little bit, and then I know they rebooted it with 9, and then 10 and 11 have continued in that new timeline of sorts. But yeah, man, I mean, we saw the traditional stuff that we would expect. And maybe they skimped on certain things and made it less a tournament than I wanted it to be, as opposed to just random fights here and there,
agreed,
which was one of my gripes maybe. But aside from that, I mean, I thought
You're a stickler for the nomenclature of tournament.
I guess.
No,
So.
I get it. I get it. I get it. Because
I mean, people weren't even killing each other in
They
certain
didn't really do a
fights.
tournament style in the movie either.
True.
Not that I want to keep comparing it to the movie.
Yeah.
Game-wise,
I love that first movie.
even the game isn't really a tournament. You just fight dudes and kill them all until you get to the end.
Yeah,
So
no.
I guess tournament is really a misnomer, but.
Yeah, perhaps. But I don't know. I mean, despite being very condensed, it's like Scorpion's story is at the forefront. It's the most compelling thing here, especially that opening with his child and everything and his family. That
And
hits
Sub-Zero.
you right here, man. And
The Sub-Zero was I always looked at Sub-Zero as the good ninja.
Same.
He
was always portrayed as
they
that.
flipped it, man. This is Sub-Zero is an evil fucker, man. And I dig on it though. I thought it was really cool.
Well, I guess Ed Boon, Scorpion has always been his favorite character. As I was doing some research about this, John Tobias has eventually left the project over the years, but Boon is still at the forefront of the Mortal Kombat property, and his favorite has always been Scorpion. Hence the little flip-flop of the dynamic, I guess. So.
Makes sense. And I do want to mention one thing that kind of put a smile on my face right from the very beginning, set a tone, was when the WB logo came up. Daffy Duck hops out and starts dancing and doing all kinds of insane shit around. And then Scorpion opens up the logo and goes, "Get over here!" and spears him and pulls him back. And I was like,
great.
"Oh, snap! Daffy Duck just got speared. That's pretty freaking cool."
Yeah, agreed.
So let's get into the acting of it. I thought the acting was all great, and I especially liked
Your
Johnny
community
Cage.
buddy, as,
Joel
Joel
McHale,
McHale.
because I just finished watching all 6 seasons of Community, and it's such a perfect role for him to play as a voice actor, because I just imagined Jeff being Johnny Cage from the show.
He brought amusing snark to the role, which was just perfectly befitting for that character.
It really was.
Where there's a likability, but yet you're just like, he's kind of a douche too.
Sonya is someone that we know as well. I can't remember.
I can't recall either.
I looked it up, but go ahead. You talk about the acting in your opinion while I look it up.
No. I mean, decent voice acting throughout. I mean, Raiden was solid. Your real key player though is just having the vengeance and the rage sold significantly by the voice actor that did Scorpion, with him being the main character and everything. And I mean, I actually really like the Quan Chi. That's a character that wasn't introduced until Mortal Kombat 4 and played a very heavy role in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, where he teamed up with Shang Tsung, and they both kill Liu Kang, and they try to combine their forces to take over and rule the Earth Realm and many others and whatnot. But yeah, I thought those two specifically, Quan Chi and Scorpion, were my personal favorites. Sub-Zero doesn't really talk very much, so he's more so the old Scorpion of sorts in that role, where not much was said in his regard in the early games. So.
And I just looked it up. Sonya is actually played by Jennifer Carpenter, who you guys know as Dexter's sister, or Emily Rose from The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Yeah.
So she does a really good job as well. So I enjoyed the acting. I didn't recognize really anyone else besides that. I just looked at their pictures and I'm like, maybe. But those were the only 2 actors. But I thought everyone did a really good job nonetheless.
Yes,
I
most
still would have
definitely.
liked to have seen the original actor from that was Shang Tsung reprise his role, because
He's
just
done
did
the voice in the games,
He
right?
did in 11, the
Yeah.
one that just came out. He did. So yeah, I wish that he came back for that.
Yeah, that guy's
It's
great. Mm-hmm.
just a vocal performance. He definitely should. And if the guy from Big Trouble in Little China is still out there doing that role, I forgot what his name is.
trying
He's
to
also
think.
the father in Kung Fu Panda. Remember he was at Mad Monster playing that evil character.
Oh goodness! Oh, that's right.
I can't remember what his name
yeah.
is, but nonetheless,
voice acting's solid, very
voice
solid.
acting's
in
all
this.
solid.
Not cheesy like you would expect, unless deliberately cheesy like in the Johnny Cage realm. So
right. Now let's talk about the animation style. I thought it was actually really cool and super effective for a Mortal Kombat, movie. I think it's more akin to the violence you'll see in the recent Netflix Castlevania show.
That's exactly what I thought.
Than some of the other stuff like a DC show, because you're not used to seeing gore in those. So I guess it is similar to the Constantine City of Demons animated short, because that had a lot of gore like this too. But yeah, they don't skimp on it. So the animation style works really well. And we've watched some animes recently. Robert and I just reviewed Devilman Crybaby, and we weren't the hottest on that animation. This is way better than that animation. This is lively the whole way, and everyone is characterized very well, and the actions and acting come off. So I dug the animation style. What about you?
I loved it, man. I've always appreciated this Japanimation, but done through way of North America, which is what this entailed, and that's what Castlevania was too. And I liked the transitions between the brutalities. I thought that they were almost going into a full-on, kind of taking the 2D animation and giving a semi 2.5D,
the X-rays,
almost 3D. Exactly.
Yeah, the X-ray stuff from Mortal Kombat 9 and 10 and 11. Yeah. Actually, no, they do less of it in 11, but 9 and 10 was heavy on it. They do a lot of X-ray stuff.
Heavy on it. Yeah. Yeah, and the gore, the gore level was high, especially that, they set such a precedent with that opening fight with Scorpion killing all those Lin Kuei, and just one after another, and they're running away from him at one particular point because he is just brutalizing all of them, and it was well thought out kills too. Each little set piece was a little bit distinctive and different, as opposed to the redundancy you often see with that sort of slaughter. So I vibrant colors, everything was well drawn, fluid movements. I mean, compared to a lot of the 80s, Japanese anime that I'm a fond fan of, the original Vampire Hunter D, for instance, being one, Akira. So this was great, man. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was on par with that slickness of Castlevania with a similar brutality.
Yeah. The gore was just crazy, from beheadings to spine rips to halving of heads and de-limbing and all kinds of craziness. So anything that you want to see Carnage-wise, it's there. So I don't know. There's not a whole lot left to say about this.
Scorpion's responsible for most of it. Let's put it that way.
But there's, everyone gets a
others.
fair shake. I actually liked when we finally, because it takes Johnny a while before he starts fighting, but once he does, it's actually really badass.
Yeah, and you see Motaro, and you see a lot of those other, there's a lot of Easter eggs. If you keep your eye out, you will see certain character Easter eggs. I think Kintaro was in there at one point too. I mean, so just keep your eyes peeled if you're familiar with the series. Yeah, it's all really good. And Kevin Michael Richardson does the voice of Goro. That's one other voice I recognized. Oh, and
you guys know him. He's an actor, a voice actor from any cartoon that you could possibly think of. He's probably been in it.
Yeah, and if you know Jax is in this, and you know what happens with Jax in Part 3, you can probably guess what happens when Jax fights Goro.
Yeah,
so,
it was pretty good. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for our review of Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge.
Exactly.
I think that's what it is. Let us know in the comments down below if you watched it yet. If so, what did you think? If not, are you planning on it? Let us know what your thoughts are. And while you're down there, if you enjoyed the video, click the like button and subscribe to make sure that you don't miss videos like this going forward. Until next time, though, I've been Cecil Laird.
And gracias, Jaime Fuego.
Thank you to all of our patrons. But
Gracias.
remember, guys, stay scared.